Judge allows Melbourne dentist to try tactic to more quickly unmask negative online review. Long story short, there's been a court order to basically say, hey Google, we need more info about this guy that left a negative review, because it was they're saying a guy was slandered by CBSM 23. This is not good, because it looks like the order basically says that Google has to turn over identifying information such as any names, phone numbers, IP addresses, and location metadata.
CBSM23 is the username of the person.
Yeah. Jesus.
Well, I mean, I don't see why not. It could be a fake review, and like, if it's their product and it's their business ultimately, especially if like the rest of their reviews are 5 stars, you know, even that one bad review brings their average down quite a considerable amount. You know, if this person hasn't given any sort of proper feedback, hasn't left any email, any number, not even any name, like what are they meant to do with that? It's not exactly a fair situation, in my opinion. That shit like that is what can kill off small businesses, you know?
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting. Okay, I didn't realise you guys would go that path, but so do you think...
Yeah, no, it does.
Just because it's on an online review website doesn't mean it's not slander if it is a lie. Like, if he's claiming what that's been said in a review just isn't true, then it's slander, isn't it? So
yeah,
the person shouldn't be anonymous, and there should be legal back action.
Exactly. Like, if you're going to talk shit, you can't choose to, you know, say it all and then say, oh no, by the way, I'm just going to I'm going to leave this on here and walk away. Like, it's not, you know, you should be held accountable for the things you say. Right? It is. I'm not saying I don't agree with all the stuff that's happened in the past when it comes to people being arrested for shit they've put on the internet and all of that. Obviously, it depends, but you know what I mean. The UK's been a bit wacky with that one, but definitely, be held to your word, especially if it's someone's like well-being on the line, I suppose you could say, or their income.
Yeah, 100%. Take. Go on.
No, go on. I'll let you finish.
Take, for example, Twitch streamers that do in real life live streams and, go into a business or whatever. And then, anything can happen from, I don't know, maybe they have text to speech donations on, which I think is, a really terrible idea. Or they do something that's awkward, or maybe they're with a group of friends or people, and they're just being irritating or awkward, or whatever. Basically, let's say, for example, a worker comes up or the manager comes up, and maybe they're just being a dipshit, and they're like, please leave. You're not.
Oh yeah, then the streamer's audience then goes and drops a boatload of negative reviews on the restaurant and things like that. Yeah, and that is a very real danger. And that you might have even heard this one as well. And Adam, I know you had something to say, but just before I forget this, you remember? I think it was Yelp or a similar one for restaurants and stuff. That it was revealed, I think it was in their early days, that when they were going around to these small businesses and these small businesses were refusing to be part of it, because to be part of Yelp you have to pay. If you're a business, you have to pay to be in the program as such. And when these smaller businesses said no, a lot of the staff it was found that the staff were going online and just dropping a bunch of negative reviews on these restaurants that refused. And so definitely have some sort of safety net with things like that, because it's a very easy system to take advantage of and to do damage with.
Yeah, agreed.
And anyone can access it. I can leave a review on a restaurant I've never even eaten in.
Do you think there's a place for anonymous reviews?
Yes, I think it really depends by what you mean by anonymous. I think anonymous to an extent, yes, but not untraceable. The business should still have some sort of way of accessing that information. Even if it was fed to them through a different sort, some sort of program which did encrypt it, or what's the word? I'm just trying to make it make the important stuff what is the word I'm looking for? Yeah, confidential. Yeah, there's a different word. I honestly don't know. Censored, I guess, because you can do that with I think it's something with SQL you can do, but either way, like there are ways around it. Like it might be a little bit finicky to figure out at first, but anonymous reviews, yes, but still give the business something to go on it, even if it's only like an order number or something, or something. Then again, I suppose that takes away the anonymous aspect. So it's like mental gymnastics trying to figure that one out.
This would have been an anonymous review if he didn't slander him, because there obviously must be some credence to the slander, otherwise the judge wouldn't have allowed it.
Yeah.
Like, obviously he's gone to the judge with evidence. Like, the article doesn't make it clear, but obviously the only way the situation could have worked is he went to the judge, he had like the evidence that whatever happened didn't actually take place. Here's like the evidence, like it might have had CCTV proving someone never came in at that time or whatnot, or he might have had CCTV that the situation went the other way around. So he obviously has evidence to say this review's just not true. So in the first step of trying to sue this person, I need to find out their details. Like, judges don't usually just say, like, make decisions like this, do they have no evidence? Like, there's obviously some sort of evidence in place that does say, this is actually potentially slander.
Mm.
But why do they have to? Why do they have?
Enough.
Why would they have to unmask this guy instead of just remove the post?
Well, because removing the post doesn't get rid of the point that someone's still slandered.
Yeah, so I imagine what the guy wants at this stage, especially if this does turn out to be a false review, and I don't think it says. Does it say anywhere like what the guy actually said?
No,
or not? Okay, so it could have said anything, and they might not even. They're not even telling the full story to some respects, but either way, what the guy probably wants, he wants to find out if the review is fake, or he knows it's fake and wants to prove it, and he wants to get this guy's name, and he wants to sue for damages. That's probably what the plan is.
Yeah, it's like...
or depending on what was said, for the slander. Sorry, Chris, go on.
If we go to like the point that happened to like Cliff Richard famously a few years ago, where like the BBC had helicopters above his house and was like, oh yeah, police paedophile raids going on. And Cliff sued him afterwards and obviously famously won. Obviously, Cliff wouldn't just be happy if the BBC said, okay, mate, please don't sue us. We're just going to take back what we said. It's like, no. At this point, someone's losing money.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
some things you can't just take back because obviously there's a stigma to it. So
exactly, and there is
the financial remuneration.
Yeah, and there is the golden rule as well, which we're all taught when we're introduced to the internet, and it's always drilled into us. No matter where you go and how long you're on the internet for, you always hear it. What you put online, you can't get rid of it once you put it online, which isn't strictly true, depending on how much money you have. But generally, yes, 99% of the time, once you've said something or done something, there isn't any just like getting rid of it, is there? So, and you see people go down from like much smaller things, I'd say. If we're going to hold people accountable for what they do online, I think it should apply to this as well. Absolutely. Like you shouldn't just have like a free pass to say some shit and then they'll just delete your comment if it turns out to be fake. Because I know that's what Google does, isn't it? Google reviews. That if a review gets proven to be fake, they just take it off.
Most of the time the business owner will reply to like a really negative one and be like, and try and completely school them with facts. But I get what you're saying there. Yeah, so
I mean, if we're gonna, like people get arrested for saying stuff on online games. There was the guy famously who got arrested for. I think so, or it was in Texas or something. Either way, it was on WoW, and he said, I'm not going to repeat what he said because it was kind of like messed up, but it was like anyone who knew what the internet was like would be able to tell it was a joke, And a woman reported it who was in the lobby to the police, and this guy got thrown in prison essentially, and it's like there was no grounds to the things he'd said. They didn't have any ground whatsoever, but they locked him up and put him on like $100,000 bail or something. But nevertheless, if we're going to do things like that, then apply the same rule set, or maybe not quite that extreme, but at least apply a similar rule set to that area of the internet as well. Because like reviews, I mean, they're not just if they stay on your page, they stick around. It changes impressions of you. It influences your sales and how many customers you get, how many people you draw in. So overall, it changes. It can influence a lot. So don't just let people get off for free if they go out of their way to cause damage. That is, well, it's illegal, really.
Yeah, I suppose I'm just interested to see what data they're going to end up giving over.
Yeah, that will be interesting. Like if they give absolutely everything, that would be interesting. I think give them their his phone number, his email address,
because at the end of the day, this is Google's one of the biggest data collection and marketing companies in the world, right? So
yeah, so they have a whole book on this guy.
I doubt they'll be wanting to give away more than they need to. I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because as soon as they do this, that's when it's going to be a window for other people and other agencies to come in and say, yeah, look, we need you to do this for us. But
yes, I imagine they're probably going to give the exact minimum that the judge orders them to give.
Yeah, but I just sort of have this like skeptical view of, yes, fair enough, this might be completely appropriate, and the judge rules it because it's completely slanderous. Cool. That's perfect. They got the job done. They found out who it was. Legal action comes in. Justice is served. That's not what I'm saying. But what I mean is, what happens if a case gets ruled for slander when it's kind of a grey area? It might be, but he might have some reasonable things to say and da-da-da. Then that's already set the ball rolling for, okay, Google, where they live, what's their name, da-da-da-da-da-da. You don't want to see it abused.
That's another problem. That's one thing where I don't think we've discussed. If we have, I apologise.
It is a double-edged sword.
What if Google just decides not to do this? They say no, it's hot water, it's dangerous, and if we do this, it's gonna damage some integrity, for example, or their integrity on maybe their policies on this sort of thing, and that's because. That could open up a lot of vulnerabilities. Like that's when the FBI and so on and so forth can come forward and say, "Hey, Google, we're going to need some of this information." You know what I'm saying? And they don't need that. And there is the backlash as well. If like you said, Adam, this turns out to be a different story altogether, and what the guy's saying maybe has he has reason to say it. If that turns out and, Google's then violated his privacy, he can turn around and sue them. And, is that really something that Google wants to risk dealing with? Probably not. I think there's a very big chance that they won't provide the information as well. A bit like Apple with the FBI.
Yeah, if it was Apple, they'd just be like...
But it's Google. They're going to provide the information.
You reckon?
Yeah, Google doesn't care.
Do they not care about putting themselves in the crosshairs, so to speak? Because they are risking that.
They have to legally
Google can't be held liable if they get forced by a judge to hand over information.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
Yeah, they have to work with the law.
And yeah.
They already do work with the law. Every agency you can think of.
Yeah, there is that.
But it is definitely. This story or situation is definitely a double-edged, sword. It's good for some scenarios, as we've mentioned, but it's also a case of, okay, what if the review was actually, genuine and, not, not fair to go this far in terms of, bringing it to the court, because that's obviously when it becomes a big issue. So it really just depends on context and the situation. I hope it doesn't escalate to a much more serious level, especially since, people can think, oh no, if I leave a negative review of this place, then I'm going to get sued. And
exactly. So what happens if you go into a restaurant, right? And you order a pizza. You order a pizza, and then some debris or dust comes off your jacket and goes onto the pizza, right? And you say, you write a review when you get back saying, there's grit and stuff in it and da da da. The kitchen knows that when they were making that, there was nothing in it, but it's just that's not technically slander for you. And then it's basically someone's word against someone's word, and then depending on how compelling your legal team goes and if you win the case or not with a judge, then you could be kind of the curtains opened. Oh, that guy left a lie comment, and you got no proof. And I think it's a very, although yes, justice was served here. Some troll was trying to be funny and probably ruin this guy's livelihood. Fair enough, but I just think it's a scary other side to the sword, I guess.
I think you could probably say this about anything to do with the justice system, though. The whole point of the justice system, though, is you kind of just have to hope it's working properly.
So the thing with the justice... Sorry, Chris, go on.
Well, just gotta say, firmly, you just gotta be understanding to the point that, this is a judge, he is an expert, he's been given the evidence. He probably was given evidence that it was slander for him to make this decision, because, judges don't usually go around willy-nilly breaking privacy. So there probably was evidence to the case. I think you just need to think, this probably will happen again. But, there's probably never going to be exploited because, most judges are sensible and they understand that, the need to break privacy is only ever necessary in extreme situations.
But is a guy's dentist an extreme situation? As sad as it is for him.
Well, it depends what he said. He could have said anything, couldn't he?
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
We don't know what the review said, but the review could be I was put under gas and I'm pretty sure he touched me up. That's obviously slanderous enough that... you don't know what the review... It could be an extreme situation in the review. It doesn't say what the reviewer said.
Yeah.
It could be something like that. It could be something like, I went to the dentist and he told me to get this thing done for £2,000 and it turned out I didn't need it. If that was the case, that's obviously an extreme situation. You don't know what the review is, but obviously I could only imagine the review was extreme enough that a judge decided to set a precedent and rule in the case.
Yeah, so we can assume, what you're saying is we can assume that what was said was something of significance. Right, in terms of the, or something of severity, rather. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I've read about...
It wouldn't be news, it wouldn't have happened.
I just looked at... what's up?
I'm just looking at the article on another site, and it says Cheng told the court he had lost around 80% of his business and was subsequently diagnosed with depression. Google took down the review around 2 months after Cheng was first alerted to it and 6 months after it was posted.
Jesus.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it must have been serious stuff then if he lost business. All of that business.
But like you said, it could have been the guy pulled all my teeth out and slapped me around the face. I mean, we never know what it was, right?
No, exactly.
Yeah, I don't think... Yes, it's annoying. I don't think any of the articles actually explain what he said. But
I have been... Go on.
Let me see. Give me a moment. I'm trying to find if any.
It was probably scrubbed, man. That's why you can't see it. But
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
In the meantime, though, I think we touched on the law around this stuff a little while ago. In terms of what's protected, for example, this is in America, though. I do warn, but I think this is sort of a general rule of thumb by the sounds of it. For example, if a customer says that you are a jerk or you charge an arm and a leg, you cannot sue for it, or you will not win if you do try to sue. But if a customer claims that you are unlicensed or that you stole her watch while painting her house, you could have a case. A false statement of fact that hurts your business is not protected by the right to free speech. So I think generally, I don't know, obviously the free speech law does differ from place to place, but I'm pretty sure that's a fairly accurate middle ground. I assume it's the same in most places.
Yeah, because people are allowed to say, like, your dentist is crap, but you're not allowed to say, like...
You're not allowed to accuse them of shit and then just, like, say, oh, yeah, that's fine. Like, you're not allowed to make shit up to make them sound bad. Like, yeah.